Howdy, y'all. Let's take a gander at this pure book, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Now, I'm not one for all this fancy book learning, but let me break it down for you. So there's this gal. Her name is Holly Golightly, and let me tell you, she's a real piece of work. Now, this ain't no ordinary girl. No, sir. She's out there living it up in the big city, New York, with all the rich folks and the mobsters. But here's the thing. She ain't even really one of them. She's just a small-town girl playing dress-up so she can fit in with the fancy crowd. Now, the fella telling the story, he's her neighbor, and he's watching all these men coming and going and buying her presents and taking her out on the town, and boy, does he get smitten with her. But Holly, she's like a wild horse. You can't tie her down. She's here one minute and gone the next. What I find real interesting is how she's always putting on different personalities and stories depending on who she's talking to. It's like she's wearing a mask, trying to hide her true self. Ain't that like a lot of folks? We all got parts of ourselves we don't want nobody to see. But here's the kicker. Holly ain't even a city girl. She's just a country gal like me who went off to the big city to try to make something of herself. Holly gets herself into some trouble with the law and has to skedaddle. So even though this book's got all them fancy folks and big words that I don't rightly understand, at its heart, it's about a country girl who's just trying to make it in the world. In a world that ain't always so kind to folks like us. After mulling over this here book, I reckon there's some nuggets of wisdom that we could take away from Holly Golightly. First off, it don't matter where you're from or how much money you got in your pockets. What matters is how you choose to live your life. Holly may have been born in the sticks, but she didn't let that define her. She went out there and made a life for herself, even if it wasn't always on the straight and narrow. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. Now, I'm not saying we should all go out there and start whoring like Holly, but I'm just saying that I can understand why she felt she had to. It ain't always fair, and when you're a woman, sometimes you just gotta be resourceful. Here's the thing. No matter how much you try to run from your past or pretend to be something you're not, the truth has a way of catching up with you. Holly could change her name and her story, but in the end, she just couldn't escape who she really was. So there you have it, folks. Breakfast at Tiffany's might be a fancy city book, but it's got some real down-home truths. At the end of the day, we're all just trying to find our place in the world. And if we're lucky, we'll have a friend that we can share the journey with.